Welcome to the Branded Market Podcast, the show for short-term rental owners who want to turn their listings into legacies. I'm your host, Allie Haney, owner and co-host of multiple properties and founder of Branded Market, where we help Airbnb hosts and short-term rental investors build intentional brands, smart marketing systems, and guest experiences that actually move the needle. Each week, I share practical strategies, real-life stories, and behind-the-scenes insights to help you attract the right guests, increase bookings, and run your rental like a business, so you too can be the best in your brand and your market. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Branded Market Podcast. I'm your host, Allie Haney, and I help short-term rental owners become the best in their brand and their market. Today's topic is all about why I believe every short-term rental should have a pre-launch waitlist. This is a tactic that I have been using not only in my own short-term rental business, but I'm also implementing for clients on their behalf as well, because many of us are in the phase where we are growing our short-term rental portfolios. We might have a new property coming online, regardless of whether that maybe is a new construction property or if that is a renovation that's being taken place on a new property or an existing property that you're shutting down on off-season. Regardless, any of these times that are considered down times, I'm going to call them pre-launch times because I'm operating under the assumption that this is going to be a new to you property. But I want to dive in today about how a waitlist can not only be a marketing strategy, it can also be a brand builder as well. There are some really great pros to having a waitlist if you are willing to put the work in up front to start creating the brand that's surrounding the short-term rental. And I'm going to dive into those today. First, I want to touch on something that I see a lot in the short-term rental space. Actually, I'm going to go zoom out a little bit and say a lot in the entrepreneur space, regardless of whether it's a new property or a new service offering, because I've worked across both service-based providers as well as the short-term rental industry. I find that people want something to be absolutely perfect before they let it out into the world. And I do my best not to project this onto other people because I know this is a tendency of mine as well. But it also gives me a very unique capability to be able to spot it in other people that are going through the same thought processes, because it's usually like, oh, I just need to do this one thing. Oh, it hasn't had photos yet. Oh, I just want it to be perfect before I welcome my first guests. And maybe that's true, but the story leading up to that does not have to be perfect. In fact, it's much more relatable if it is a little bit messy in the new construction process, in the renovation process. I want to tell you a story about a previous business venture of mine. It was called the ESC conference. And this was back in 2024. It was an amazing idea of this all-inclusive, we called it a conference, but the size of the event gave it a little bit more of a retreat vibe. So we had about 20 to 25 women all under one roof at, you guessed it, an Airbnb, and it was actually in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. The premise behind it was that this all-inclusive retreat, it decreased decision fatigue. All you had to do was say yes to you and your business. When you showed up and you got there, we had everything taken care of in terms of accommodations, in terms of food, in terms of education and workshops, literally at networking even, everything was taken care of. My business partner and I at the time, we knew this was a great idea. Absolutely amazing. We got all of the education, the speakers together. We booked the Airbnb. We created the website, created the brand, everything, but we did it all behind the scenes. It wasn't until we had everything what we thought was perfected that we actually brought it out to our audiences and to the masses. Me and Cassie, we both had our own individual service-based businesses at the time, and we presented this joint idea of this event to our audiences, but they were cold audiences. They had no idea what to expect. This was a very intimate, well thought out idea that we had inside of our heads and between the two of us. But we had not primed our audiences to be ready to be able to receive that event, that new offering, etc. The same thing can apply in the short-term rental world, where you can go through and you can have a perfect brand. You can hire a professional interior designer. You can be super excited about the guest experience that you're going to deliver. But if people don't know that it exists, then they can't relate to it. They can't trust it. So the point of this waitlist, this pre-launch waitlist for your short-term rental is so that people are ready to be primed. They're already primed and they are ready to book once you are ready to have them book. And they already trust you because they know the person behind the story. Okay. So I just wanted to give that as like a little bit of a flag of caution. Like, don't wait until everything's perfect in order to launch it out into the world. Because when you launch it out into the world, what happened with us with ESC conference and what is likely going to happen to you with your next short-term rental is that you might get crickets, especially if you're relying specifically on a direct booking site strategy to be able to get your first guests. Next, I want to kind of talk about what a wait list is and what a wait list isn't. So, first, like I said already, this is part of building the brand story. We want to be sure that they are let in on every single piece of the process. What I've actually seen in the past work really, really well is to not only allow them to view the process, but to also participate in the process. So, for example, when we launched, pre-launch actually, Elysian, which is the future micro resort that Luna is going to be on, I did a Instagram poll. Actually, I take that back. It was a question box. And I said, this is the property that we are about to purchase. We're going to go under contract, hopefully here in the next week. We are trying to put together a brand, a name, something that's going to resonate with our ideal guest. Can you help me brainstorm some names? And I got damn near 25 names submitted to that question box just from allowing people in on the journey. And it came down to 2 names. Honestly, I wish I could remember what the runner-up was to Luna, but Luna was the one that won, obviously for the dome specifically. That person was like, oh my God, she chose my name. Even Elysian was also submitted by somebody. So like that didn't come from me. I took all of the suggestions that people gave to me that resonated with people who I thought would be my ideal guest avatar. So mind you, right? Luna is supposed to be a short-term rental for families. So it was a mom of 2 that gave me the name Luna. And it was another mom of 2 that gave me the name Elysian. So I'm taking specifically from those people that are going to be my ideal guests and creating a brand that's going to speak directly to them. So you can see how not only allowing them to view the process, but also allowing them to participate in the process can be one of those revenue generators ultimately when you're able to then release the short-term rental into when it's live for booking so that they're like, oh my God, I named this place. Like I would love to visit that. So that's one thing that I want to instill in you is that this can be a brand building experience in the form of a pre-launch waitlist. What a waitlist is not. Okay, we're not spamming people. We're not just doing a one and done email where they opt in and then you're like, coming soon, and then you never speak to them again. I'm not saying that you should have like a full on like 20 email welcome sequence. That's not what I'm saying. But I also don't want you to just get the email, not say anything to them for the 3 months that you're under construction or the 3 months that you're under renovation. And then right when it's ready for booking, boom, then you send them another email. That negates the whole process. That we're not doing that. Okay. We have to make sure that they are in on the process so that they feel like they are a part of it. Next, I want to touch on how a waitlist drives early bookings. So when you are ready for people to actually book your property, what does that look like in terms of being able to give your waitlist special first access to those booking dates? It promotes this like exclusivity of being able to be the first one to have access to this brand new property. It promotes a little bit of scarcity, especially if you tie a expiration date to when their waitlist code is going to be live. It pushes them to action by making them feel special because they first get access, and 2, giving them a deadline by which they have to take action in order to get that first discount. People find a lot of pride in saying like, I was here from the beginning. And honestly, in our case with Elysian, where we decide to continue to put more and more units on that property, I already have those warm leads that I'm able to remarket additional stays to in the future. Let's talk about how to build the waitlist first. Because if you have this awesome little opt-in that you're like ready for people to come into and into this funnel and you just don't do anything with it. Well, it's a tool in your toolkit that's never being used. A hammer sitting in a toolbox is not going to nail anything down, right? So we got to take that tool out of our toolkit and actually use it. A couple of places that you can post these wait lists are first, of course, on your social media. So think of all the different platforms that you already have a following. This can be your business Instagram if you have one set up for your other short-term rental properties. This could be on a personal Instagram page. And one that I find people overlook oftentimes is their personal Facebook page, because friends and family, they want to be able to support you. So don't forget to also put that out to your friends and family, especially if that short-term rental is within traveling distance of them. Allow them to support you in that pre-launch period. Additionally, I want it to not only go out on social media on like a permanent feed post or a story on Instagram. You can put it at your link in your bio. So you can have it like sign up for STR waitlist, whatever you decide to name it. Sign up for Elysian waitlist or sign up for Luna waitlist right there in your link in bio. You can put it on LinkedIn. You can put it on Pinterest. If you have a website already, put it there. If you have a podcast, put it in the show notes. Put it literally anywhere you can think of that people are able to opt in. If there's a local Facebook group in your area, like let me give you us, like our family as an example. We live right outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. So I'm in a lot of mom groups and entrepreneur groups, like our HOA Facebook page, all of those things. Think about all of those personal groups that you've joined through your personal Facebook. And then check the rules in those Facebook groups, because oftentimes they have rules surrounding when you can promote yourself or your business, and just follow those rules, but post in those pages, especially if it's within driving distance of that short-term rental, if that's the ideal guest that you're trying to target. Like for us, we're targeting families in a 2 to 3 hour radius of Luna. So that would be perfect to put in all of those Facebook groups to be able to continue to grow the waitlist as well. I'm going to take a second to give you a little bit of tough love. We all love Airbnb. It's where most of us got our start. But what happens when Airbnb increases fees for hosts? What happens when the Airbnb algorithm no longer favors your property? Well, at that point, it's time for you to take your short-term rentals marketing into your own hands. I created a free quiz to help you figure out where you should start marketing your short-term rental. Look in the show notes for the link to take that free quiz, and the results will be sent directly to your inbox. Let's help you to be the best in your brand and your market. Okay, so now we have the list growing. It's on all of our social medias platforms that we are putting it out there. We're actually saying that we are saying that we are launching a short-term rental here soon. We have this wait list now. Okay, so how are we actually going to talk to this wait list? I keep saying it's a brand builder, but how exactly is it a brand builder? First, I want you to create some sort of welcome confirmation email, and that's going to be sent automatically once they opt in. So this confirmation email doesn't have to be like, great, you're signed up on the wait list. Okay, that's an option, but let's push it a little bit further into a brand building tool or tactic where you tell them the story behind the short-term rental. You tell them if it's already an established brand that you've created, then you tell them the story behind the brand's name. You tell them exactly what you're going to call the property, who the property is going to be made for. Okay. If you have those details, include them. If not, at least make sure that they know that they are on the list. Like I said, it doesn't have to be like a 20 email welcome sequence funnel. Like let's keep it simple, because throughout this, like I'm going to use a 3-month time frame. Throughout this 3-month time frame of when you start the wait list to when that wait list is launched, we want to be telling the story of all the things that are happening. So I want you to email them. I'm going to say at least once a month. That is doable. Preferably every week, but real life happens, especially if you're in a new construction or reno process. I get it. But I want you to email them at least once a month, preferably every week or every other week, with an update about the property. Oftentimes during that construction phase, during that reno phase, you feel like, oh, I don't really have much of an update. Like we're still waiting on the floors to be laid. But I guarantee you there's something that has taken place that is an update that you don't find significant, but they will. A couple of the touch points that we did throughout the waitlist period of Luna was we did, when the walls got painted, we did an email blast during that point. We did it when we were about to receive the design. We got the design mood board first. So I did an email then. I did an email once we received the design with a sneak peek of the design. And the waitlist got that first dibs on the sneak peek before anyone else, before I put it out to social media. Again, showing them that they are an exclusive list. They have early access to certain things about the property that other people, the general public, does not. We were able to notify them when we got the floors laid. We were able to notify them when I painted the cabinets. That was like kind of a relatively last minute decision before we opened or before we will open. If you are deciding to have a direct booking site, that would also be an incredible thing to offer to your email list first with a specific code that will allow them to have a percentage off their stay to be as a thank you for being there for the pre-launch waitlist period and being part of this story with you. So for us, we did Waitlist 100 where they got $100 off of their reservation. And that way it drives those early bookings as soon as you're ready to take them and makes them feel like they got to be in on a secret little story. The next question that I get from people is often like, okay, I have all the strategies. I get how to do it. I want to do it. Sign me up. But how do I do it? The best platform that I have found is Flowdesk for email marketing, at least for a pre-launch waitlist type of email marketing strategy. I've had a couple of other clients ask me about StayFi because eventually when they open up their property, they are deciding to use StayFi to collect emails in the future. And so I've really been working hard to try and find a way to be able to have the pre-launch waitlist, but not pay for two softwares at once, especially one like StayFi, where you have to be able to have reservations in order to gain those emails. So I actually contacted StayFi, and my best understanding of what this would look like through StayFi is that it's at this point not really possible because although you can collect guest emails prior to their stay, there has to be an active reservation on the books in order to get that guest's email address. Let me back up. For those of you who don't know what StayFi is a software solution to be able to collect email addresses when people are at your rental. So let's say I have Lisa who makes a reservation at Luna, and Lisa then enters to Luna. In order to get onto the Wi-Fi, Lisa has to enter her email address in order to access the Wi-Fi. The caveat there is, and what makes StayFi so attractive, is that not only does Lisa, who booked the reservation, have to enter her email, so do all of Lisa's other 4 guests that are accompanying her. So now instead of just having 1 email on our email list, we have 5 emails on our email list, and we're able to access those and email those in the future. And StayFi does have those email marketing capabilities, which is why it's so attractive for short-term rental owners. But I just want to make the distinction of like StayFi is going to work best once you actively have reservations versus Flowdesk would be for like a pre-launch waitlist type of situation. I'm still in the working stages of seeing how the transition goes from Flowdesk to StayFi. So I will keep you updated on that. But as of right now, if you want to, let me go through what I do in Flowdesk to make it so that I can use it for multiple brands, which by the way, Flowdesk is not set up to be used as multiple brands, but within the short-term rental world, how I do it is basically I run brand and market, right? That's my main business. And then I have multiple short-term rentals that I run for myself. And each of those have its individual brands. One thing that I do is I have a segment, which is when I'm going in and I'm trying to segment my customers into different groups. I have a segment for hosts and I have a segment for guests. So that's the 2 general buckets that I put people in. But then on the guest side, they can also be in part of a different segment. One person can be in multiple segments at once. Under the guest segment, they're also tagged as either Luna, the Commonwealth, or Homestead at Cunningham Creek. Okay? Those are the 3 brands that I have under my Flowdesk account. So they can receive or opt in to any one of those specific segments for the Commonwealth. And then they're going to be tagged as the Commonwealth and as a guest. So I know who all is a guest, who all is a host within my brand's ecosystem. And then if I want to specifically address one rental, like let's say the Commonwealth has an opening on Thanksgiving and I want to fill it, I want to be able to directly email all of the people that have opted in to hear updates about the Commonwealth. Okay, great. Now I have that specific tag and I can send out an email blast directly to all of those people who have opted in specifically for Commonwealth updates. So you can see how you can kind of organize it so that you are able to utilize it outside of its initial capabilities. If you all are interested in Flowdesk, I actually have an affiliate code that gives you 50% off your first paid year. I'm going to link that in the show notes. I would love for you to hop on a free consult call with me so that we can talk through a little bit more on your specific case-to-case basis of how that pre-launch waitlist can work for you. Until next week, here's to being the best in your brand and your market. You just completed another episode of the Brand & Market Podcast. If you found this helpful, please rate, review, and subscribe to help others find this show and so that you never miss an episode. Don't forget to take a look at the show notes for all the resources mentioned today. See you next Wednesday, and as always, I'm here cheering you on as you build your dream brand and business.